I feel like we could probably have more arguments if we weren't as communicative as we are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like we're both very good at like understanding each other's perspective. And I think you've helped me speak my truth more, which always helps like resolve our issues. Like I'm pretty quiet, especially in like antagonizing situations. I'm much more of a, repressive individual. And I think you can be a little more on the like reactive side, like if those were two sides where you're like sharing how you feel, and then I go into like my reactive thing and I just like get quiet. I'm like, okay, I don't.
You go
And
into
you're,
hermit and I go
yeah,
into like
and you're
Firebird.
like, David, can you please tell me how you feel? And it's like terrifying for me to do that because I think like, I don't know, you'll like abandon me or something. And then as I've gotten better about just saying how I feel like that almost always like resolves a huge amount of tension. Yeah, and I think we don't argue a ton because I think we're very similar in a lot of ways. And then when we do argue, yeah, I think we've just gotten better at like, yeah, listening to each other and like saying our piece. Um, yeah, and there definitely is some sort of magic when you just like say how you feel and the other person says how they feel and like both people hear each other. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't even require agreement or something almost. It's just like the fact that those things have just been said. Like there's so much tension that's released. Yeah, and I think that's helped us a lot. And it's certainly something I'm continuing to work on.
Yeah, I think it's a forever thing. I think one unlock that we've noticed, someone for our wedding got us this book called Eight Dates, and every date you is a theme. So one date is about communication, one's about like future family, one's about work. It's pretty cool. Like I recommend it to all couples, but I think a pattern that we spotted in that book that has also worked for us, which we discovered it like kind of organically before the book, but then I noticed the pattern in the book, which is to describe like you're feeling about something, but how has your past influenced the way that you perceive the thing that you're arguing about? And when you can share your perspective based on why you have that from your past, like past experiences that contribute to it, it creates a lot of connection and understanding. And suddenly you understand more about how the other person is bringing their perspective to the table. And that has been massive for understanding each other.
Yeah. Yeah, that's helped a lot because then it goes from just like this blind feeling about like, why am I being oppressed that I can't do this, to be like, she's had this experience in her past. So she hears this and like, this is how she feels from it. And like, that's what we can work on.
Yeah.
It's not just like this like blind rage and like, oh, she just wants to oppress me by not wanting me to go to a music festival or something. It's like, oh, she's worried about these things. And
Yeah.
same on my end, like when I get triggered about certain things, you can be like, oh, okay, it's just because of these things, and this is how we can work on it. Yeah. But yeah, that Eight Dates book was good. That was for my cousin, the eldest of the cousins, and she was just like, I'm gonna ignore your whole registry because I know what you need is this marriage book. And you need to
Like you
go
do
through
not
it.
need placemats. You need this
Yeah.
book.
And she was right. We've gifted it at least to one person, if not two, I think.
Yeah, I highly recommend it for all couples, whether you're dating or married. I just thought it was really fun. It's also really easy. Like the chapters are short. You might make a list of things before you meet, and then you get to have fun planning the dates. And the dates, vary. They're kind of themed with each one. So yeah, with
Yeah. And I
that,
think you have a good perspective too, which is just like, hey, like this is our marriage. This is our relationship. This is like one of the biggest things in our lives. Like, are you willing to put in an hour every other week for 8 weeks to do like such great work and like help this thing? It's really like this is one of the biggest things we have in our lives. Let's like actively invest in it. Let's put a little bit of effort. Let's not live this fantasy that like relationships just work out magically and you never need to do anything. And if you found the right person, then like you're just smooth sailing, tripping Disneyland every day. It's like, no, sometimes you need to, we're two humans and we need to like put some effort in and talk.
yeah, it was really lovely doing that in our like newlywed era. I think we started that soon after we got back from our honeymoon. But I think one thing that we're talking about now that I wanted to bring up too is something that our parents have taught us about love. And my parents, especially my dad, was one thing that they had always said to me was like, you can't change people. So if you're dating someone, take them as they are. don't think that they're going to change into some type of person, or that you can change them to adapt them into whatever your fantasy might be. And then I think what I've learned on my own through like therapy and personal development is that people will naturally evolve as humans. Like we are going to change a little bit to some degree. Maybe it might be just our interests or preferences or like how we move through the world or how comfortable we are in certain situations. But holding those two together, I think, is why I thought this was really important for us to do the 8 dates and to continue to have like relationship check-ins, is because I don't want to change you. I love you as you are, but I want to make sure that as we both evolve as people, that we're doing so together. Like we're still walking step by step as a couple.
Oh, thank you. I love you too, Sam.